जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय गोपी जनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन। यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन। यमुना तीरा वनचारी। यमुना तीरा वनचारी। जयो राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। जयो राधा वृंदावन चंद्र राधा वृंदावन चंद्र श्री राधे। जय गौरानिताय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय। जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय प्रभुपाद। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्रजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्री श्रीमद डिवाइन ग्रेस इस्कॉन फाउंडर आचार्य श्रीला प्रभुपाद जी की, ब्रह्म मध्व गौड़ीय संप्रदाय आचार्य गुरुवर की, ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की, गौर प्रेमानंदे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयोदीरयेत्। शृण्वन्ता स्वकथा कृष्णा पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तनम् हृदि अन्तस्तभद्राणि विदुनोति सुहृत्सताम्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवती नैष्ठिकी। आजानुलंबितो भुजौ कनकायवधातो संकीर्तनै पितरवो कमलायताक्षो विश्वम्भरो द्विजवरो युगधर्मपालो वन्दे जगत्प्रियकरो करुणावतारो पतितपावन निताय गौर सुंदर की जय। नवनीरद निंदित कांतिधरम रससागर नागर भूपवरम शुभवंकिमचारु शिखंड शिखिम भज कृष्ण निधिम व्रजराज सुतम। राधिका सरोद इंदु निंदि मुख मंडली वंदिये श्रीपाद पद्म वृषभानुनंदिनी वंदिये श्रीपाद पद्म वृषभानुनंदिनी वंदिये श्रीपाद पद्म वृषभानु नंदिनी। श्री श्री राधा वृंदावन चंद्र की जय। So today we are celebrating the second Janmashtami festival in New Vrindaban. So this is a wonderful facility that the administrators have arranged for those who are not able to come on a weekday, and that is why we are continuing our celebration of Janmashtami over the weekend. So we are very happy that all of us are here celebrating Janmashtami Nanda Utsav. So today we will take one verse from Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam, which is displayed on the board, that kind of gives us a deeper insight about who Krishna is. And Srimad Bhagavatam sometimes just has one word, or sometimes uses different words, and the secrets are revealed by our acharyas. What do they really mean? So kindly repeat. Actually, this is from canto number 10, which is the summum bonum of the pastimes of Sri Krishna and his pastimes especially in Vraj and Vrindavan. And it's chapter number 5, and today's verses 1 to 2. They are both combined. So we will all repeat it. Nandastvatmaja utpanne jatalado mahamanaha ahuya viprana ved jnana snata suchir alankrutaha nandastvatmaja utpanne जातलादो महामनः आहूय विप्रान् वेद ज्ञान स्नातः शुचिर अलंकृतः श्री शुक उवाच नन्दस्त्व आत्मजा उत्पन्ने जातालादो महामनः आहूय विप्रान् वेद ज्ञान स्नातः शुचिर अलंकृतः श्री शुक उवाच नन्दस्त्वात्मज उत्पन्ने जातालादो महामनः नन्दस्त्वात्मजा उत्पन्ने जातालादो महामनः आहूय विप्रान् वेद ज्ञानम् स्नातः शुचिर अलंकृतः श्री शुक उवाच नन्दस्त्वात्मज उत्पन्ने जातालादो महामनः अहोय विप्रान् वेद ज्ञान ता शुचिरलंकृतः नन्दस्त्व आत्मजा उत्पन्ने जातालादो महामनः आहुर्विप्यान् वेद ज्ञान स्नाता शुचिरलंकृतः. Anybody else? So this is verse 1 and 2 combined. I think there was no space to write on the board for the second verse. I will simply recite it and then we will go into the word to word meaning. Vachayitva swastayanam. Yeah, you can repeat a few, those who have these smartphones or Vachayitva swastayanam. Jata karma atma jasya vai karayamasa vidivata pitra devarchanam tatha. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada Ji ki Jai. Sri Sukha Uvacha, please repeat. Sri Sukdev Goswami said, Nandaha, Maharaj Nanda, tu, indeed, Atmaje, his son, Utpanne, having been born, Jata, overwhelmed, Alladaha, in great jubilation, Mahamanaha, who was great-minded, Ahuya, invited, Vipran, the Brahmanas, Ved Jnana, who were fully conversant in Vedic knowledge, Snataha, taking a full bath, Suchihi, purifying himself, Alankritaha, being dressed very nicely with ornaments and fresh garments, Vacha Yitva, after causing to be recited, Swasti Ayanam, Vedic mantras by the Brahmins, Jata Karma, the festival for the birth of the child, Atmajasya, of his own son, Vai, indeed, Karayam, Asa, cause to be performed, Vidivat, according to the Vedic regulations, Pitra Deva Archanam, the worship of the forefathers and the demigods, Tatha, as well as. Sukadeva Goswami said, please repeat, Nanda Maharaj was naturally very magnanimous. And when Lord Sri Krishna appeared as his son, he was overwhelmed by jubilation. Therefore, after bathing and purifying himself and dressing himself properly, he invited Brahmins who knew how to recite Vedic mantras. After having these qualified, Brahmanas recite auspicious Vedic hymns. He arranged to have the Vedic birth ceremony celebrated for his newborn child according to the rules and regulations. And he also arranged for worship of the demigods and forefathers. Purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada Ji ki Jai. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has discussed the significance of the words Nandastu. The word tu, he says, is not used to fulfill the sentence because without tu, the sentence is complete. Therefore, the word tu is used for a different purpose. Although Krishna appeared as the son of Devaki and Vasudeva did not enjoy the Jata Karma, the festival of the birth ceremony. Instead, the ceremony was enjoyed by Nanda Maharaj, as stated here. Nandastva Atmaja Utpanne Jata Lad Maha Manaha. When Nanda Maharaj met Vasudeva, Vasudeva could not disclose, your son Krishna is actually my son. You are his father in a different way spiritually. Because of fear of Kamsa, Vasudeva could not observe the festival for Krishna's birth. Nanda Maharaj, however, took full advantage of this opportunity. The Jata Karma ceremony can take place when the umbilical cord connecting the child and the placenta is cut. However, since Krishna was brought by Vasudeva to the house of Nanda Maharaj, where was the chance for this to happen? In this regard, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur desires to prove with evidence from many Shastras that Krishna actually took birth as the son of Yashoda before the birth of Yogamaya, who is therefore described as the Lord's younger sister. Even though there may be doubts about the cutting of the umbilical cord, and even though it is possible this was not done when the Supreme Personality of Godhead appears, such events are regarded as factual. Krishna appeared as Varahadev from the nostril of Brahma, and therefore Brahma is described as the father of Varahadev. Also significant are the words Karayam Asa Vidivat. Being overwhelmed with jubilation over the birth of his son, Nanda Maharaj did not see whether the cord was cut or not. Thus, he performed the ceremony very gorgeously. According to the opinion of some authorities, Krishna was actually born as the son of Yashoda. In any case, without regard for material understandings, we can accept that Nanda Maharaj's celebration for the ceremony of Krishna's birth was proper. This ceremony is therefore well known everywhere as Nanda Utsav. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manoyabhishtam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha. आराध्य भगवान व्रजेश तनय स्तद्धाम वृंदावनम रम्या काचिद उपासना व्रजवधुवर्गे न तया कल्पिता श्रीमद्भागवतम पुराण अमलम प्रेम पुमर्थो महान श्री चैतन्य महाप्रभुर मतैदम ना यत्राग्रह परा. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद्भागवतम की जय. So this is an amazing, beautiful verse that reveals the actual parenthood of Krishna. We all know that the pastime of how Vasudev married Devaki, and according to the Vedic system, the brother usually accompanies his sister to the husband's house, to her new house. That is the Vedic system. Either on a palanquin, accompanied, walking side by side, or on a chariot. Kamsa was a very big king, very, very powerful. And in spite of that, he took this menial position of driving the chariot of Devaki on after her wedding, taking her home. As he was en route, there was a voice or Akashvani from the sky that stated that, "O Kans, you are a fool. Devaki's eighth son will be the cause of your death." And at that very moment, Hare Krishna, you want to take him to the playroom? Thank you. Hare Krishna. So upon hearing that voice from the firmament, Kans, obviously being very demoniac, he changed like a chameleon instantly, and he caught the hair of Devaki and pulled out his sword from his mane and wanted to kill her. At that time, it was a very shocking, ghastly scene that everybody in that ceremony was shocked, and including Vasudeva himself. Vasudeva was a very, very good devotee, very, very much calm, and he tried to pacify Kansa. And Prabhupada has very nicely described this entire episode from the 10th canto, all the episodes of 10th canto, the Leelas in the book Krishna. It's right behind me in many different languages. So if you don't have one, I would highly encourage you to take one, and whatever little donation is there, you can put it in the box. Or give it as a gift to somebody. And I always say that this is actually a very good bedtime story for your kids, for those who want to actually develop their kids in the Vedic culture, rather than reading Enid Blyton or any of those English or American stories, which don't really give them much sanskaras. So, anyways, so there is a wonderful conversation, actually more of a conversation one-sided, that Vasudev speaks about a lot of wonderful philosophy, and it's very wonderfully described that you're not this body, you're the spirit soul. Why do you have to fear death? You know, if you're born, death is certainly to come. All these different instructions that we find in the Bhagavad Gita are more or less repeated by Vasudev. And seeing that Kans was still bent on doing his heinous act, he finally, uses the diplomacy has failed. So there is different ways. Chanakya Pandit says that Sam, Dam, uh, uh, huh? Danda, Bheda, all these different things can be used in a dangerous situation where diplomacy, sometimes you have to fight. That is Danda. You have to use Danda means you can use the stick, which signifies defending oneself or fighting to prevent a grave danger. So all these things failed, and finally Vasudev, he tells Kans, look, Kans, you know, you're concerned with the eighth child of our eighth child. So why are you worried? Right now, we don't even know whether we will have children or not. And if we do have them in the future, I promise you, I will bring all my children to you, and you do as you please. That's a very hard thing for the father to say, or a mother, that, to turn in a child who they certainly know that would be killed by a demon like Kansa. So Kans was at that time pacified, and he knew that Vasudev was a man of his word. Uh, People in the Vedic culture, they are really very truthful in nature. It is said that the Raghuvanshis, where Lord Ramachandra appeared, the Sun dynasty in Ramayana, it is said that Raghukula Niti Sada Chali Ai, Prana Jai Par Vachana Na Jai. What it means is that all the entire dynasty of Raghu, Raghu is the forefathers of Lord Ramachandra. So in the entire dynasty, their main one of the main principles was that they would lose their life, but not what they had promised. And that is one of the reasons the Ramayana continued, because Dashrath had promised three uh, wishes, two wishes to Kaikai. And with a heavy heart, he had to banish Ramchandra Bhagwan to the forest, stop his coronation. The same thing applies to the Yadukul, which Vasudeva was a Vrishni, a part. So he kept. So was his word was go. He knew that. So he said, "That's fine," And then after some time, a few months, the firstborn child was born, and uh, Vasudeva brings that child to Kansa. And at that time, they were not imprisoned yet. Vasudha and Devaki were in their own homes. So then Kansa at that time felt a Vatsalya bhav. Vatsalya means the parental, like an uncle, in his heart, that, oh, it's the eighth child, not the first one. You take him back. So Vasudeva was perplexed. Such a demoniac person, he may flip any moment. But anyways, I will take my child home and enjoy before he changes his mind with my firstborn. And like this, when that happened, suddenly after Vasudeva left, Naradji appeared. And Naradji, he told, he was very well received by Kamsa. So this is one of the good qualities of great Vaishnavas like Naradji. Uh, that even the demoniac persons, the Rakshasas, and even the demigods, and even the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they have so much respect for Naradji. Naradji is the only personality that, without any restriction, he can move around anywhere in the universe, in the creation, including go into Krishna's inner chambers or any of his avatars without any permission. That is his position. He's such a wonderful personality. And one of the reasons why he's even received by all persons, whether they are the scoundrels or rakshasas, or even the sadhus, the saintly persons, or the demigods, or the Devi Devtas, is because he has got this one great quality, and that is because of zero envy. This is one very difficult stage to attain. Even after practicing devotional service, somewhere in us we find that there is envy, either in the size of a mustard seed or a size of a football, but it is there. Uh, so when we cross that stage, when we, so here even Naradji wanted the well-being of Kamsa in one sense. Uh, that is why he appeared there. And there is always some reason behind Krishna's plan. Sometimes we don't understand why, and there are multifarious reasons, just not one. Whenever Krishna performs a certain pastime, there might be more than one reason behind that leela or pastime. So Naradji uh, has this great quality of being nirmatsar. Similarly, our six Goswamis, Gadadhar the author, Srinivas Acharya, who has composed the Shad Goswami Astakam. How many of you are familiar with it? Vande Rupa Sanatana Raghujugo Shri Jiva Gopalako Dhira Dhira Jana Priya Karo Nirmatsaro Pujito. Srinivas Acharya says in one of the stanzas that Dhira Dhira Jana Priya Karo. They are so much liked by the dhiras, meaning devotees, and adhiras, non-devotees. That includes demoniac persons. Dhira dhira jana priya karo. They are favorable to them. Why? Nirmatsaro pujito. Because they are worshipable, because they are nirmatsaro. And that is what these qualities are there in all our acharyas in the line. And 32nd in the Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya is our ISKCON founder, Acharya A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. So, this is something to take home for all of us, especially we are practicing Krishna consciousness. Some just started, some beginning, some of us many years in the movement. But envy is extremely difficult uh, to overcome. And if one can do that, then all the great qualities of the Vaishnavas are already in that personality. So Naradji, he he comes and he tells Kansa, Kansa, what a fool are you? You've just let go the first child that Vasudeva brought to you. So Kansa says, Naradji, this is the eighth child. You know, past, present, future. And the predicament was for the eighth child. So why should I even, bother for the first? So Naraji said that, that predicament that came, the voice from the firmament, the Akashwani, do you think you can trust it? Who do you think it might be? It might be your enemies, the demigods, or one of the demigods speaking, and they're confusing you. It is not necessary, it could be the eighth one, it could be the first one too. And then in another version, we have heard that Naradji actually takes a circular object, say something similar to this piece of kartal, and he draws 8 dots 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then he turns it and he says, which one is 1 and which one is 8? Show me. So, Kans is even more perplexed. And coming from Naradji, and Naradji is an expert in serving Krishna for a certain purpose, which is most difficult by other devotees. Naradji and Lord Shiva are those two personalities, and of course our Srila Prabhupada, that can perform the most difficult seva that nobody else can. Because there are thousands and thousands and millions of devotees in the spiritual world. The spiritual world is 75%, and 25% is the material world. So we are outnumbered, by the way. The majority, they are all inhabited. All the Vaikuntha lokas, Krishna lokas, they are inhabited by devotees. But not all devotees can perform a specific task, some difficult task. Just like sometimes I like to use this example. If there's a wedding in the family, as an example, uh, then there are so many relatives in the family, and they all come forward to help out. But the parents of the bride or the groom, whatever the case may be, they appoint out of that maybe brother out of 5 siblings, maybe a good friend, like that, maybe 3 or 4, they are handpicked because they know that if we give them a certain seva or a task, it will be perfectly fulfilled. So if he tells this one sibling, brother, that okay, you are in charge of all the catering. So don't worry, you don't have to look, just continue with whatever you need to do. That's my responsibility, it's taken care of. And very true. So there are certain, so similarly, certain seva that Krishna or Radharani wants to be undertaken, then they have to pick and choose some of the best devotees that can fulfill Krishna's desire. Although all devotees are kind of empowered when they are in Vaikuntha, but these devotees especially are super empowered, like Narad Ji, Shivji, and our Guru Parampara. So Kans immediately sends his soldiers summoning Vasudev Devki and the firstborn and throws them in the jail. And as soon as he follows them into the jail, he takes the firstborn and mercilessly uh, uh, kills the first child by hitting it on the wall of the dungeon. And like that, a few months later, a second is born, third is born, fourth, fifth, sixth. 6 children of Vasudeva and Devki are mercilessly killed. Uh, our acharyas explained that the six children were actually there was a curse, and Kansa was also cursed because by his own uncle in one of the millenniums, in the appearance where Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu had appeared. Actually, Hiranyaksha had asked Kansa to, he was known as Kalnemi at that time, the demon, asked him to do something, and he refused to obey his uncle, who was non-different from a father. So then he cursed him that you will be killed by your own family. So we know that Kamsa later on in this Dwapar Yuga was killed by Krishna, his nephew. And also the 6 children that were born to Devaki, they were actually the sons of Kalnemi, and who had actually made fun of the uncle at that time. Or actually, I take that back. He had made fun. The history tells us they had made fun of some sadhus or devotees. So they were also cursed that in one birth you will be killed by your own father. So these 6 children were actually children of Kalnemi that were killed by Kansa, who was their father in one of the Satya Yugas. So, like this. And also, the explanation is given that when uh, the Supreme Lord appears, the womb or the heart has to be very clean for his for him to really be very happy and come into the devotee's heart. And first of all, it is said that Vasudev and Devki, the seventh child, appeared as Lord Sankarshan or Balram. And he is Sankarshan or Lord Balram, the brother of Krishna, the older brother of Krishna, is none other than the source of all the gurus, Sadguru. Ah. And the guru comes and helps in cleansing the darkness, helps in cleansing the 6 of these. They also represented Kam, Krodh, Moh, Matsarya, and Mad. So the different avarices such as anger, greed, lust, illusion, all these things they represented. So that had to be cleansed, and only a guru can do that. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namaha. So that is why Guru. Guru means somebody who, there are more than one meanings of the word Guru. Guru means one is who is very heavy. Sometimes Srila Prabhupada was very heavy with his disciples. Why? Because he wanted the best for them. We find that even the parents are heavy on their children sometimes. Why? Out of love. So similarly, a guru in Sanskrit means one meaning is heavy. So for the well-being. So nowadays it has become a fashion for people to accept guru and then give up gurus because a certain guru was very hard on them, and then they think that, oh, I can find a better guru. No, that's not done. Huh? Where we are, once we become, what is Shishya? Shishya means one who accepts a Shasti. Shasti means discipline. One who will accept discipline voluntarily without any kind of protest. That is a real disciple. And those who are very fortunate can get those gurus are actually the same thing. Whether the guru is loving or the guru is very heavy, it is still transcendental in nature, and it is still nothing else but pure love for the disciple and for the well-being of the disciple. So that's whether Prabhupada was angry or Prabhupada was smiling, it's non-different. That is the understanding that the Shastras give us. So Lord Balram appeared in the womb of Devaki, and then completely cleansed after that. So one point that I would like to bring here is some people will ask this question, that the Lord is in everybody's heart as Paramatma. So what is the necessity for cleansing the womb of Devaki or the heart of Devaki before Lord Krishna would appear in her womb? So here the answer is that the Lord, whenever we want to receive somebody, whether it is even a guest, we want the guest to be happy, right? We don't want the guest to be displeased. So what to talk about the Supreme Lord? Narottam Das Thakur says in one of his bhajans that uh, तुम्हारा हृदय सदा गोविंद विश्राम, govinda kohina vaishnav mor pran. Meaning, in your heart, the pure Vaishnavas, the devotee, the pure devotee, Govinda, Vishram. That's a very, very important word. Vishram means Govinda is very pleased. He is at ease. Whereas for in our hearts, not necessarily Paramatma or Govinda is pleased all the time, because sometimes we behave in a not so good way or a Vaishnava way, but he is there as a duty. He's there as a duty. He will not abandon us, no matter in what karma takes us to a different species of life, whether animal or demigod or a human life. Krishna is always present as Paramatma, but it is as a duty. He does that. But for devotees, he is always jumping with joy in their hearts because he is very pleased. So that's the difference. And that's what Guru helps. We find in Chaitanya Sistastakam in the very first verse. What is that verse? Cheto darpana marjanam bhava mahadava agni nirvapanam. By chanting the holy names, our consciousness will be purified, our heart will be purified. And everything in this material world, which is compared to a davanal, a forest fire, will be extinguished. Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam. And the mercy of Sri Guru, of Lord Nityananda, of Lord Balram will flow from the spiritual sky through the medium of the pure Vaishnava Acharyas, like a lily that blossoms in a full moon night. And that the rays of the moon are extremely cooling, like a full moon. And that full moon is Lord Nityananda, Lord Balram. Nitai pada kamala koti chandra shushitala chaya jagat judai heno nitai vine bhai Radha Krishna paite nai drida kori dharo nitai pai. So nitai pada kamala koti chandra shushitala. The lotus feet of Lord Nityananda or Balram is equal to millions and millions of cooling moons. That is the quality. So when you are burning in a forest fire and then suddenly you get a very nice cooling atmosphere, what more can it be than a nice cooling full moon night, which is multiplied by millions, which is the mercy of Lord Nityananda. That is what Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam. And that radiation from the moonlight is the kripa that radiates from Lord Nityananda to the entire parampara, to Brahmaji, Naradji, Vyasdev, Madhvacharya. It comes down in parampara to Baldev Vidyabhushan, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, Srila Gaur Kishore Babaji Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. So that's the mercy that comes in and that we can receive. That's what Sri Guru does. And then that is the reason Devki's heart was completely cleansed, and at that time she was from Vasudev's heart. Krishna, who first appeared in Vasudev's heart, just by glancing Vasudev glancing at Devki, Krishna was transferred into Devki's heart, and or you can say also the womb. But it first planted in Vasudev's heart. That's what Prabhupada mentions in particularly based on the Srimad Bhagavatam. Now, when Krishna appeared, he appeared as a four-armed Lord Narayana. And at that time, Vasudeva and Devki offered him a lot of wonderful prayers because they know that he is the Supreme Lord. Actually, Vasudeva and Devki, in their past lives, they had actually appeared as Prishni. Devki was Sutapa and Prishni, Vasudeva and Devki. And at that time, they were in some Satya Yuga, they had performed much tapasya, penances. And at that time, they pleased Lord Narayana, and Lord Narayana appeared in front of them and says, I'm so pleased with you. Can I give you something? Can I give you a benediction? So Vasudeva and Devaki said, we would like to have a son just like you. So Narayan said, there is nobody equal to me. Krishna also says that in the Bhagavad Gita, Mattapara na nikanchit aschit dhananjaya. There is nobody who is equal to me. So Lord Narayana said then, but because I'm so pleased and I promise to give you a benediction, I will become your son. And not only in one birth, because of your purity and because of your devotion, I will appear as your son in 3 births. So they appeared in different millenniums, and in the Dwapar Yuga as Krishna. So when he appeared, they offered wonderful prayers, and then suddenly they realized that if any of the gods see the four-armed Lord Narayana, immediately they will report it to Kansa, and Kansa will come attacking their son. So they, out of pure parental love, say, please become small like a normal baby before anybody sees your huge form of 400 form of Lord Narayana. So then, out of love for their parents, Krishna or Lord Narayana at that time becomes a 2-armed little baby. And at that time, suddenly, by the mercy of Yoga Maya, there are 2 types of Maya. Mahamaya is the effect in the material world. We are under the effect of Mahamaya. Krishna says, Mama Maya Duratyaya, Je Mam Prapadyante Maya Tarantite in Bhagavad Gita. So here Krishna is talking about Mahamaya. But in the spiritual world, there is also a Maya. And that Maya's only service and main service is to arrange for different, make arrangements for the different Leelas of Krishna. She arranges. And that's a very, very amazing task. Krishna has actually given her a blank check. That do as you please, even put your influence on me. Maya means to illusion or to make us forget what is not. So here what does Maya do? Mahamaya do makes us forget that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But in the spiritual planets, what does Maya do? Anybody? What does Yog Maya do? No, that's definitely. There also, she does the same thing, that she makes the devotees, especially in Golok Vrindavan, forget that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. She also, so that the Leelas would be enhanced. Because if Yashoda Ma or Nanda Baba knew, like Vasudeva and Devki, that he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then their sweetness in their relationship would be interrupted. So Yogamaya uses that spell in all the Vrajvasis in Vraj and make them forget that he is the Supreme Lord. Sometimes they get that abhas or little bit of a shadow that, oh, he's the Supreme Lord. And then immediately Yogamaya is chastised by Krishna. What are you doing? Are you spoiling my relationship? When Mother Yashoda opened Krishna's mouth, show me your mouth, you have eaten mitti, you have eaten mud. And when Krishna opens his mouth, she sees all the universes in Krishna's mouth, including Gokul, including that Brahman Ghat, under, and including that tree where she is sitting, and Krishna is right by her side, and she is actually has a finger in his mouth, and his mouth is wide open. So there, she is like thinking, and Krishna, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, kind of chastises Yogamaya. What are you doing? You're trying to show that I am the Supreme Personality of God to my mother. Immediately she will offer prayers to me. Don't do this. And then Yashoda Maya is thinking, oh, the Maya of Vishnu is so great that I'm just seeing things in broad daylight. He's just my little darling son. And I have to clean him up now and chastise him for eating mud because that's not good for his stomach and digestion. So that is what Yogamaya does. So Yogamaya was also born to Yashoda, as per this purport here that we find, and Krishna is also the son of Yashoda. Now, one may think, how is that possible? So, based on this particular verse, the very first verse, the word that is used is Nandastva Atmaja. So, this is an indication in Srimad Bhagavatam that Tva Atmaja, Atma means the self, and Ja means Janam. Janam means birth. So, when we say there are different words like Nanda Tanuja, like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu addresses in the Chaitanya Shishtastakam, verse number 5. Ay Nanda Tanuja kim karo patitamam vishame bha buddho kripaya tava pada pankaja stitadulim sadrisham vichintaya. Ay Nanda Tanuja. Tanuja. Tanu also means body and Ja means birth. So someone born of a particular person is known as Tanuja. So Nanda Tanuja, or same thing, similar, Atmaja, the son of Nanda Maharaj. This is the only verse in the Srimad Bhagavat that clearly indicates that Krishna is the son of Nanda Maharaj and not the son of Vasudeva and Devaki. So let us clear this a little bit. I think my time is almost up, but I will also continue this katha this evening on Krishna Jnamashtami at 5 p.m. So when the eighth child Krishna is born to Vasudeva and Devaki, after the prayers, Lord Narayana decides to become the two-armed Krishna, and by the mercy of Yogamaya, everybody falls asleep. And there is torrential rain at that time. It is month of Shravan. Shravan means it is the rain, lots of rain, right? And at that time, when Vasudeva, all the gates of the prison open up one after another. All the guards have gone to sleep. The entire Mathura city has gone to sleep. The entire Vraj has gone to sleep in a deep slumber. And Vasudeva, he actually finds a little basket in the prison, and he carries this little Krishna on his head and walks out of the jail and walks out of the premises of the palace of Kamsa. And when he just enters outside into the open sky, lots of rain. And guess what happens? Who comes? Who appears? Sankarshan, as the snake who protects like an umbrella, father and little brother. So Sankarshan, Lord Balram, has got many roles in serving Krishna. And of course, he serves as an umbrella at that time, protecting. He wanted to go and swim across, but due to the torrential rain and due to the storm, the waves of the Jamuna were very huge. And as he entered into the waters, it came to his knees, and as he moved further, to his belly, to his chest, and almost to his nose, drowning. And at that moment, Yogamaya immediately tells uh, Jamnaji, the Jamna Devi, calm down. We know you are super excited. We know that you are Krishna's consort and you want to touch the lotus toe of Krishna, because Krishna's toe was hanging out a little bit outside the basket when Vasudeva was carrying him. And she was so excited that she wanted to touch the lotus feet of Krishna. And Yogmaya says that, hey, don't do this. You'll drown your father-in-law. and, and that will not be very pleasing to Krishna. So calm down. And immediately Yamunaji calms down and opens up the way, just like how the Red Sea opened up for Moses. Right? So like that. And then Vasudeva was able to cross into Gokul. When he arrived in Gokul, Gokul was very quiet. Everybody, the Yogmaya had taken a spell. Everybody had gone to sleep. Nobody was awake. And he went towards the palace of Nanda Maharaj, Nanda Bhavan. And it's a huge palace. Now, how was he guided? Where Yashoda Mata was, there was an effulgence in coming out of a one room in the whole palace. Actually, Nanda Maharaj's palace was on 84 pillars. You see how big this temple room is? It's probably about 10,000 square feet. How many pillars do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 pillars. But Nanda Maharaj, if you go to Gokul, there's a darshan of Chorasi Khamba. Khamba means pillars, and Chorasi means 84. So can you imagine how huge Nanda Maharaj's palace is? And how many rooms there must be? But Vasudeva was guided through a very effulgent light. Just like, and it's something analogous, if I may, in the Christian faith, like how those 3 kings were guided by the star, right? They followed the star to find Jesus. So he found that effulgent light, and he entered that room, and there, lo and behold, Mother Yashoda was in a deep, deep slumber. And what he saw was a little baby girl. And he exchanged that baby girl with his own son. Now, Vasudev's son is known as Vasudev. When you add that it's Sanskrit. Like the name of Sita Devi is also known as Janaki, right? Because she is the daughter of Janak Maharaj. So Janak's daughter is Janaki. So Vasudev's son is Vasudev. So we have to be very careful sometimes when we pronounce, especially when we know. So Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, not Vasudevaya. So Vasudevaya means Vasudev, and Vasudev means Sri Krishna himself. But the son of Vasudev is Vasudev. Now Vasudev Krishna was swapped with that little girl, and he slowly caresses the girl in his arms, and he is on his way back to Mathura. And in the meantime, what happens? Which is what here this verse is telling us very, very clearly. Actually, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, and in the Harivamsha, Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami in the Brihad Bhagavat, and even Srila Prabhupada has mentioned in his purports. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami also in the 7th canto, 7th chapter, in the first, what is it called? The Pratham Leela, the Adi Leela. It's mentioned that Krishna is the son of Yashoda. So Yashoda gave birth to 2. First, she gave birth to Krishna, and then immediately after, she gave birth to Yogamaya, as it is mentioned in this purport. And what happens is, because Yogamaya had the influence, had a very specific job, Vasudeva could not see Yashoda Nandan Krishna or Nandanandan Krishna. He was hidden from his view. That is how Yogamaya performs her beautiful leelas for the pleasure of Krishna, make her beautiful arrangements. And as soon as Vasudeva leaves with the baby girl, Vasudeva Krishna, the son of Devaki and Vasudeva, immediately merges into Nandanandan Krishna. He merges into Nandanandan Krishna. And Then we find the rest is a lot of different leelas in Raj when Krishna is growing up and different demons come and the Krishna kills them. And actually, it is said that Krishna doesn't kill them. It is Vasudev Krishna within him who kills the demons. Krishna is a sweet boy. He doesn't, he is a coward boy. He's not a Kshatriya. So he doesn't do any killing. These are the commentaries of our acharyas. So that Vasudeva Krishna who is within him, he performs all the killing of all the demons. Because Vasudev Krishna is a Kshatriya. And Krishna is the sweet darling boy of Vrindavan. He doesn't need to do that. And he doesn't even need to step out of Vrindavan. Ekam padam na gachanti Vrindavanam. So what happens is at the age of about 12 and a half, Akrur comes on the order of Kansa to bring those two boys because he had a plot to kill them by inviting them to a wrestling match. So at that time, Akrur takes Krishna Balram on a chariot. And at the border of Mathura and Vrindavan, even when we're doing Vrindavan Parikrama, how many of you all remember seeing the Jagannath temple of Murari Gupta? Do you recollect that? So it's way after Keshi Ghat and way after Pani Ghat. And when you're just turning towards Atala Chungi with the railway tracks, there at that point, it's that place where the border of Mathura and Vrindavan, that road, it's a very old road. Nobody uses it much anymore. But Akrur took that path. And just on the border, Akrur stopped the chariot and he bowed down to the land of Vrindavan. And while he was bowing down, at that time, Vasudev Krishna comes out of Nandanandan Krishna. And Nandanandan Krishna goes incognito, but he stays in Vrindavan. And the one that was taken to Mathura is Vasudev Krishna and Balram, both the sons of Vasudev. Balram is also son of Vasudev because he was born of Rohini, Mother Rohini. And this, because he was forcefully, the seventh child was forcefully transferred to Gokul, he was known as Sankarshan. So the news came to Kansa that the seventh child, Devaki, had a miscarriage. But it is not true. Yogmaya had a very special job. Krishna orders that you make sure that you transfer, because Rohini was under the protection of Vasudev's best friend, Nanda Maharaj, in Gokul, while Vasudev and Devaki were imprisoned. So Rohini Mata actually stayed in Gokul, and Balram was raised there in Gokul along with Krishna in Nanda Bhavan, in the house of Nanda Maharaj. So then later on, the rest is the Leela where Kansa is killed and both the brothers fight the elephant Kovalyadeep and Mushtik and Chanur, etc. So this is the secret, and only the Gaudiya Vaishnavas have been revealed the secret. There are so many Vaishnava things that Krishna, actually speaking, if somebody tells the Vrajvasis that Krishna is the son of Vasudeva and Devaki, or Krishna is not the son of Yashoda, they get very upset. Krishna himself got very upset. And I will end this with one little line from a bhajan from Surdas. You all know this famous bhajan that Maiya Mori Main Nahi Makhan Khayo. Oh mother, I have not eaten the butter. You think I have stole the butter? They are all complaining, but I have not done that. And he says, Bhor bhayo Gayan ke pache Madhuvan pathayo. Early in the morning, just imagine, just think about it, mother. Early in the morning, you send me to Madhuvan with the cows. So where do I have the time to go steal butter? Or where did I have the time to steal the butter and eat it? So like this, Krishna is trying to convince his mother. And then at the end he's saying, there are more stanzas. He's saying that, oh mother, trying to actually get those words. Ha. Khub bheda upajiya. You have considered me as a foster son. And that is why you are thinking that I am lying and you don't believe me. In that bhajan, Surdas is saying that, I have heard that I'm not your son. People are saying that. And that is why you're behaving like this. You're a foster parent. So we generally know that foster parents are not, they have more love for their own born and not for the foster kids. So at that time, Mother Yashoda, immediately, she picks up Krishna in her arms. Surdas has so wonderfully described it, and she starts crying. And then Krishna realizes that he hurt her by saying that. So Krishna finally says, Maiya mori main nahi makhan khayo. Difference, main nahi makhan khayo or maine hi makhan khayo. I have certainly eaten the butter. I lied to you. Please forgive me, mother. So this is the bhav that certainly the Krishna is the son of Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Mai. This has been revealed in the scriptures, especially the Gaudiya scriptures. So thank you all very much. Janmashtami Maha Utsav ki Jai. And this evening we have another session. Hopefully there will be some repetition. I hope you all won't get bored. But Krishna Katha is always Tava Katha Amrita. No matter how many times we hear it, it's always very refreshing for the devotees. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Prabhupada. Krishna Jnamashtami Bhajan ki Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Bol. Shri Prabhupada Gurudev ki Jai.
So enthusiastic.